I'm here with Sig Lord as always, and we have three special guests for you tonight. Goon Stomp from Northern Storm, Sig Infinite from also Northern Storm, and then we have Trufflesaurus from Option 12. How you guys all doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Doing pretty good.
I don't like that they get the moniker of being special. I'm elegant and fantastic, sir.
Yeah, you are. You're just here all the time, and we can't seem to get rid of you. So,
Well, I have paperwork to allow me to be here, so you can get over it.
fair, fair. Um, we are here to talk about the semifinals and move into the finals. The last week of the second split of the LCUS. Amazing matches yesterday. Um, the first set of matches gave us not an upset, but Option 12 beating More Cowbell 2-0. As someone that was in that set of games, Truffle Source, tell us a little bit about those matches.
Yeah, absolutely. So my biggest takeaway from that was just how well Cowbell played. I can't stress this enough. They absolutely brought their A game to that playoff game, and they really hit a whole new level. It may have been a 2-0, but they were not easy games.
Yeah, definitely. I also was in those games, and you can definitely tell that they did their research, knew what to pick and what to ban. It's really cool to see teams actually have strategies and teamwork. What are you guys? Did you guys watch the games?
I casted one of them, and I can tell you I was very pleased. It's nice to beat the dead horse. It's always nice to see teams bring their A game when the A game matters most. And Cowbell left nothing on the field. If we get to keep the same roster in terms of that players for next split, I think we're looking at potential champ.
Definitely. What about you guys from Northern Storm? Did you guys see the games?
I watched bits and pieces of them. Yeah, there's really well played games on both fronts. So it just, like everybody else said, it's just very solid. I hope it continues from everybody.
Yeah. What about you, Infinity?
Uh,
Seems like your mic's cut out.
Better?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I watched a bit of it as well. Actually kind of kept getting yelled at because I was watching while we were trying to do some practice games. Um, no, I agree. I think they did really, really well, but I don't know. You guys, option 12, your all's strongest point, at least in my opinion, is your all's late game. So even though they had some crazy good plays early game, they let you get to late, and just like you've proved every single game, if you get to that point, you usually win.
Yeah, actually, adding to that, one of the points that I was thinking about bringing up was in game one, they Cowbell had something like a 4,000 gold lead, like at 16 minutes of the game, like stupid early. Like that's a huge lead, and it was really hard to claw back in that one. But like you said, we got the late game, and things started going our way.
Yeah. Even in match two, they had something like a 3 to 4,000 gold lead at one point. Well, looks like a 2,000 gold lead, but still a decently large gold lead for early in the game. Very impressive. But if we don't have anything else about that set of matches, we can go on to the more exciting set. Um, the set that went to 3 games between Northern Storm and White Wolf Gaming. Um, it's a rematch from the week before, and oddly similar set of games with White Wolf jumping out to a 1-0 lead over Northern Storm just to have Northern Storm come back with a solid performance after changing up their bans. Uh, so Goonstomp and Sig Tao, number 2. How were those games for you guys?
They were pretty tough. After we dropped that first game, it just really kind of it changed our mindset a little bit. How our bands and everything. Because White Wolf played great, and just games 2 and 3, we just pushed forward a little bit more, and they, it's like we changed our bands and it put them on a different strategy, and it really seemed to kind of put them off their game a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Like, absolutely not trying to talk smack right now, but for the last couple of sets that they've had, they've used the same strategy with the Zillion, with the Taric, Zach, things like that, just bringing people back, people that are champs that just come back on their own. And so by banning out all those things, I'm sure those players could have adapted, but where they haven't had to do it in previous games, I think it kind of threw them off a little bit.
Yeah. One of the major things that I think swung the set into your favor was them picking Syndra and Deluxe. It's not a really great matchup for the Syndra. It just kind of showed that they were off to a little bit of a different strategy than they were used to.
I agree. I expected after that first game, especially, to have, of course, Fizz and Lux both banned out from me in the first set of picks, but they were more afraid of, because we always expect Udyr banned first as well, but then they banned, I can't remember who they banned instead of Lux, and we all just were like, all right, let's do it again.
Well, it came down to, I think they chose to ban the Ezreal in game 3, which also left Lux open for the third game.
Yeah, that's what it was. Ezreal, Udyr, and Fizz were there.
It also seemed a lot like games 2 and 3. I believe it's Arcane Soda is their carry, correct?
Yes.
He played really well. It just seems like he couldn't gain any kind of footings in games 2 and 3 to get going to really provide any DPS for his team. It just seemed like he just couldn't get going for whatever reason. So that really kind of helped sway the games as well, games 2 and 3.
Yeah, where for instance, extreme example, where you got 2 pentakills in the last 2 games. He was not really able to pick up those the gold from kills anywhere, and even just in the bot lane, you had like 2 or 3 items when he was still trying to finish Infinity Edge and a Zeal item. So that was a pretty rough time.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say part of that too is not only does White Wolf have the you can't kill us strategy, team never die or whatever, but they also very much love to group up and fight. And if the rest of their team is being picked apart, like the mid lane has a rough matchup and that doesn't go well, and top lane is against Brad, so that's always that defaults to a rough match, that kind of thing. Then it's really easy to just tear through the front line and get to the ADC too, and I think that was a contributing factor as well.
What about you, Sigtal?
Lord.
Yes. Excuse me, Lord.
His lordship to you peasants. But I'll tell you, I was riding Team White Wolf hype train at the beginning of the night. I stuck with that hype train. I believe in their off-meta picks. I believe in the quirkiness that they stick with. Week in, week out, it's what's made them a highlight of the split for me. I really hope that we get to see more White Wolves in the future. If they're not the team doing it, I hope other teams are thinking outside of the box, not just looking at patch notes to see what's going to be hot till the next nerf. I think the greatest mistake that they made, you guys have touched on, but I think they weren't faithful to their play style. With that Kog'Maw Lulu bot lane, I think it was a solid strategy, but if you're going to go into something like that, the whole team needs to reflect it, and that wasn't there. They tried to play more meta, and it did not work in their advantage at all.
Yeah, they definitely they had a really, really good pick ban idea in the first 2 games, and I think a little bit of panic in the third game. Just, match point is definitely pretty intense. Having the idea of picking away Tahm Kench and stuff like that, and then not doing it. Yeah. Well, that happens. We move on. Congratulations on making it to the finals, guys.
You too.
So moving on to patch notes. Is anyone how do people feel like the patch impacted this week? I didn't see any Duskblade characters, but our league really isn't assassin heavy. What do you guys think?
I personally didn't think it affected the semifinals too awful much. I don't know if it was playtime on the patch or what, but it just didn't seem like it affected it too much. Like you said, there's not a lot of assassins in the league, but it just didn't really seem like it did change anybody's gameplay per se.
Yeah. The only real weird off-meta thing that we saw was the Aatrox coming in versus Kled, and that Aatrox did run the new Keystone Conqueror. But I think that also might have been the only time Conqueror was run.
Yeah, I expected to see a whole lot more Conqueror, honestly. It's real strong.
That one, to add to that, that one I suspect has more to do with playtime because at the patch had only been out for like what 4 days or something.
Yeah.
I think Conquer changing your Keystone rune is a bigger proposition than just a weapon that does or an item that does less or whatever.
Yeah, I know us on option 12 we banned out Kaisa. Brandana was spamming it in solo queue. As a personal friend of mine, he was talking to me about how good the builds are on him and what to do. Just not ready for that. Not enough time on the patch for us to prepare for a Kaisa. Like I think I've played 4 games with it overall. Crazy champ.
I think the static shiv nerfs were pretty heavy. I think it dropped Caitlyn's power a whole lot with her early game pushing. It just doesn't do the same with going rapid fire second and static shiv losing its damage. It just you can't push as hard. So I think she dropped in power a little, pretty significantly.
That makes sense. What do you guys think about the ignite and heal changes? I haven't played AD carry this patch at all, so I can't really feel the heal. But I can I see games all over solo queue with 3 ignites on one team, top, mid, and support. Kind of ridiculous. Anyone run into that?
I think the ignite is a big change, and it's unless you're facing assassins, ignite's probably the better option. Over exhaust, of course. But I also think I've seen a lot of barrier AD carries and heal and support again in solo queue. So I don't know if that's a better strat now. But I think Ignite's still the way to go on support. And heal didn't really see much of a change. Didn't feel like much of a change to me.
So with Ignite's early game increase and just support's probably running it more often, and with Rageblade being pretty heavily nerfed early game, as an AD carry, Goonstomp, how do you feel that's impacting people like Kog'Maw, Varus? Should they take a step out of the #1 spot in the AD carry role, or?
Right now, I haven't played Cog enough on this current patch to know if he's going to drop down. Varus, he early game with the Rageblade rush, it still didn't feel. It lacked a little bit of power, but I think he's still going to be a pretty high pick. Like I said, it didn't feel like he lost enough power from the nerf early game to where it'll make him drop down. But with Kaisa, with her moving up and with her buffs, that may change it. I don't know if it's the Rageblade specifically, but I just think with Kaisa buffs, that can pop her up and maybe drop down the Rageblade carries.
Oh, fair enough. Anyone else have anything about the thought on the patch? Anything for the finals?
Sorry. One thing that I'm very interested in seeing is as a result of that lethality change, and especially Duskblade, pretty much every jungler who would build lethality has been modified in some way. These are all your assassins and such, like Kha'Zix and Kayn and Graves even. and I'm kind of interested to see what happens now that they've all received sort of a buff of sorts to deal with the fact that lethality was nerfed, because that was Riot's strategy with that. So I am kind of curious to watch the jungle meta. LCUS tends to run a more tank-centric jungle meta anyways, but I am really curious to see what happens with this general buffing of assassins, or of bruiser junglers, I should say.
Yeah, I think it's also a buff to these assassin junglers if they didn't like building it for some reason, or if they fall behind early game and weren't able to afford it. Just giving them stat increases definitely can help with that.
While we're still on the patch, I do want to give a shout out to Sharila's Reverie. The past two podcasts, I'd complained about the removal of a lot of the support items, and this feels like this was a quality of life change specifically for me. It's like they listened to this and they were like, you know what, he's made a point. But I love when they give supports options like this. And Aether Wisp build path, big fan. I really like that.
I was a support main for many seasons. It's been a while since I've tried to play ranked or anything with as a support, but I really miss Sharila's Reverie and that kind of items. And I always got accused of building coin when I shouldn't, just because I liked that active when you completed it back with the old support items. So I'm personally also really excited to see it again.
It's a good item. All right, and with that, we'll move into a quick message from our sponsors. All right, and this week we have the great Gullible.com coming back in for the sponsor spot. They're the one and only place to get your LCUS content. Go there, check out your stats for your favorite players, interviews. Yeah, and all of our VODs will be up there as well. So once again, that is Gullible.com, the one and only place that you can see LCUS content. But with that out of the way, we can move right along into why we're all here, to give a little bit of a preview on the finals. That's Option 12 versus Northern Storm in the only best of 5 of the split, like every split. Really gives teams time to adapt their pick and ban and just overall strategy. What are some things you're looking to see, Sigtal Lord?
I'm hyped for this bot lane matchup. I'm really pumped to see Shaden and Goonstomp, not just milking it because he's here with me tonight, but just the dominating performances you guys have put on all split. I think it's going to be one of the highlights. Now, I'm also, not because he's here, folks, I'm really pumped for this mid lane matchup. Now, I talk a lot of crap about Ace because he deserves it. But this is going to be one heck of a matchup, and I am so pumped. Every lane, just star-studded performances. So I'm ready. I'm pumped. Let's go.
Yeah, but not the jungle. The jungle's going to be really boring.
Right. Especially the Option 12 jungler. He's so boring.
Yeah, he's bad. But no, so let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Well, what do you think of Shaden, Goonstomp?
He's a really great player. You know, from what I understand, AD carry is his off role. I'm not 100% sure on that, but either way, he's very strong on it. He's put up consistent performances throughout the whole split. The only time that against playing against another carry this split that I felt on the back foot really has been against Shaden in our first week matchup against you guys. And that's really the only time I've personally felt on my back foot in the bot lane matchup. So I'm looking to get a little bit of revenge in the matchup, and but it's definitely going to be great. Great matchup to keep an eye on.
Yeah, will you be able to get back-to-back pentas again?
Hopefully, maybe go for a third with a 5-game set.
Yeah, just three games, 3 pentas.
Yeah.
Sweep
No
the
pressure.
series. I like it. Let's move on. Let's go up a little bit, but not too far up. Let's go to the jungle. Ben, how do you think a matchup versus Fat Lee is gonna go? He's often talked about as one of the best junglers in the LCUS and his synergy with the top lane.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the jungle showdown. Sue has this. Sue is always in your jungle, looking at your stuff, stealing your camps, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of the mind games with him are a whole extra level. I really enjoyed every time I've matched up against him, and he's certainly given me a run for my money. I do plan on trying to dethrone him from the best jungler in the LCUS, or at least give it a good try.
Strong
If
words.
I may, I'd like to give a shout out to him as well, because on top of just being a really strong jungler, I think one of his other super strong qualities, the fact that he has such map awareness as he's jungling. So that truly helps.
Or hurts if you're not on his team, right? Like,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's all about perspective.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot more than just who can gank whose lane. Lots of mind games going into that. One lane that I really want to talk about is the top lane. It's the first time we really saw Shaken Not Stirred be on the back foot was versus Aatrox yesterday. It really seemed like he didn't know the matchup very well, and that it was very impressive by White Wolf's top laner to be able to, kind of push him around with a very off meta pick. You guys were, in the game. Was that a struggle for Shaken, or did he just know that the rest of the team would be able to step up and have his back?
It didn't seem like he was struggling too much during the game. I think really it's just the Conqueror rune is what put him over the top in that matchup. Because he was on was it Kled that game? Yeah, it was on Kled that game. If he was on like a more traditional tank, I don't think Aatrox would have been an issue. But I think it's just the Aatrox with Conqueror versus Kled matchup is really just kind of the difference maker there, is the Conqueror rune against Kled. He's not a traditional tank. So that's really just that's what was the deciding factor there.
Definitely.
I am kind of interested in how Conqueror matches up into a tank. I am by no means a top laner, so I have no idea. But I do think Conqueror would mitigate the usefulness of being on a tank. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's a crazy rune. I don't think it's been out long enough for enough people to theory craft around it. Plus, there's always the players are lazy and don't like remaking their rune pages. Problem with it. We've all been there where it's like, well, I should probably take area this game, but then I have to switch it back next game. So I'm just gonna stick with Comet, and I could see people sticking with press the attack or grasp of the undying instead of wanting to switch to Conqueror. And so there's one more lane left, and that's the mid lane.
Support, you're right. I'm really pumped for this support matchup. I know I'm ready to see Ashaway play into Chaos. Ashaway's brand new, but she's played. They've played like a pro this split. Chaos, old champion, Triple Strike made it to the finals last year, so this is not new to him. I think it's going to be really good seeing them play.
Thank you for that perspective. I was hoping that would come in with the bot matchup, as it's a duo lane, but it's okay. It's okay. We can talk about support.
Yeah, supports are ignored, right? Just like in the game. Like,
hey, we talked. About
just kidding, just kidding, Ashley. If you're listening, I think you're great, or Ashaway, excuse me, but
we talked about top lane, and they're an island. We can talk about support. It's fine. But yeah, the mid lane matchup is also going to be a good one. I think in the week one it was very evenly matched with Fizz and Talon versus Annie and Brand. I think were the sets. It'll be interesting to see what myself and Sigtao pull out this time, right?
Sure, I agree. I'm actually pretty stoked for it. You were my first matchup in this this league, and I haven't really played in any kind of like team-oriented competitive play up to that point. So it was a completely new experience. But I'd have to say I think that first game or that first set was actually some of my weaker play. I mean, my fizz game was pretty strong, but I don't know. I didn't have the synergy down with the team yet or anything like that. And if anyone's watched these last few games, that's definitely not the case as much anymore. So
Yeah, you guys are definitely working well as a team. It'll be great to see the games coming up this weekend in the finals. Do we have, we try to make things spicy here. It's mainly just Justin or Mexican food that keep things spicy. But do we?
I live that spicy life. I'm always getting the guac, and it don't cost extra for me.
Do we have any fun little trash talk that anyone want to throw out? I mean, I know I'm not gonna let Northern Storm 6-0 me in the finals, so I'm gonna at least take one game off this time. Anyone else?
Let's see.
I'll let you have a Nivea if you give me fizz.
Oh, come on. All right, deal.
I don't think
I
my
wanna
team
see
would do
this.
that.
Deal. It's too late.
Yeah, you can't back down from that now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves now.
See, he's already like, no.
You can have an Nivea, you can have Fizz, and I can have Ezreal.
And Fatley gets you.
What, 2 for 1? Yeah,
Oh,
no.
yes.
no.
3 for 1.
Bird, that's the power of the bird, though. That's worth 2
So-
picks.
So are we just gonna play blonde pick
Yeah.
or what?
I would love a best of 5 blonde pick.
Game 5 Korean style.
Yeah. there
Oh
you go.
yes, yes.
Don't throw with
yeah.
my heart.
Zed
Classic
versus
OG.
Zed.
Yeah. All right, and I'm gonna put the awkwardness on Sigtal Lord right now and make him give us his prediction for the set. What do you think it's gonna be? Games.
As much as I like to say that I am the prophet, I am the chosen one, the future is very murky, my dedicated followers. This is on the back of what's coming out the jungle. I think all 3 lanes are such strong, capable players that this is going to be between the jungle really deciding where they put the pressure, who gets ahead, and what they do with that lead. So I'm going to predict whoever wins between Truffle and Fat Lee, they're the ones that are going to walk. They're going to decide their team's fate.
Okay.
It's a tall order, but
I can dig it. That's great. And now we don't really have very many questions this week. We actually only have 2. Let's start with, what is the most underrated champion stat? Kind of a repeat from last week, but it's a really good question. I'm going to stick with my answer of movement speed. Best stat in the game. Can't beat it. What do you guys think?
I totally misinterpreted that at first, and I was like, obviously self-mitigated damage. Like, what else are you going to track in the post-game lobby? But yeah, as a tank, but
No, I agree. Movement speed. I think too many people don't realize that if you can get away or just create distance, like that's what makes ADC so strong. Just being able to peel.
It's part of what makes fleet footwork so amazing.
So cool story time. When I had first met Ace and we got to play with him, he turned me on to the idea of nothing but movement speed quints. And I swear to you, when I played any support mage, it was like Janna, it was a hard necessity. He got me addicted to that. So I'm with y'all.
Sigtal Lord, you didn't tell me that Ace is the one that got you into Challenger. Like I didn't know that that's where that strat came from, but I've been ogling it since the beginning of my support days.
He put me there. Now it's a shame his career has went down since then. But it's all right. I will never let a friend down. That's why I'm here with you today.
I appreciate it. Movement speed quints on Ashe back in the day could not be beat. Anybody else?
As a tank, I gotta shot the stacking health is one of my favorite ones, which I know is super annoying, right? But I love a good Cho'Gath game or a Stone Plate or whatever, what have you.
I like that one, because it's one of the few stats in game outside of movement speed that give you that visualization. So I can look at a Cho and be like, "Oh, damn."
I was sharing this story. I was playing an ARAM. It was probably like a month ago. It was pretty recent, and it was a long ARAM. But I happened to get Cho'Gath, and when I popped Stone Plate, I had something like 15,000 health. Like
Oh my god.
it was insane. I know I could one shot a carry with my ult. I mean, like, you know, that's like a 30 stack Cho. It's not something you ever get in a Summoner's Rift game, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I'd have to go with health as well. Movement speed is great, and you know it's very close, but health is a great stat as well.
Cool. And last question. What is your favorite champion to watch? Not exactly sure the interpretation of that, but take it as you will.
For me, it is Riven. I love to watch Riven get played for multiple reasons. One of them is it makes me realize how bad I am because I cannot play Riven. And other than that, I think it's just great. I think it's to watch Riven played well is just it's great. Just to see the mechanics, everything played right, it's just devastating.
I'd have to say that mine is actually Fizz. It's actually what kind of turned me on to him at first, because whenever I'd watch other people play him, I'd be like, I'd be just amazed by the escapes, or just get in, do some damage, get out, and then keep doing that. So tried picking him up, practiced with him. I sucked at first, and then he's become one of my mains ever since. But
Yeah, Fizz is definitely. I love a good like artistic style. I mean, like mechanically challenging. Is super rewarding to watch, like Riven and such. But and Fizz has certainly got some mechanics going on too. But Fizz is just fun. Like, he just seems fun, right?
yeah, exactly.
Unless you're playing Versit.
Yeah. I got dunked on last ranked game I play. It was an embarrassment. So no, it's painful to watch Fizz. I love seeing a good LeBlanc, like original LeBlanc, because it's just constant movement, the constant evasion. It's just a thing of beauty with those kind of not only knowing where to move to avoid, but being able to land your chains and all that. It's just very spicy meatball.
Yeah, can't wait for that rework to be reverted and me to be able to go back to playing LeBlanc. It's gonna be a good time. Personally, I love watching Rise. The new kit actually has a little bit of skill in the champion, and it's cool to see the combos and what the pros actually, how the pros actually use all of his spells to the best of their abilities.
Like, you think you got him cornered and he gets a shield and move speed, and you're just like, how did he pull that off?
While snaring you for 2 seconds.
Yeah, under turret, like, just what? Like,
it's a good champ.
Mine, I'm gonna pull a Sigtal Infinite. My favorite champion is actually Zac. He's really growing on me. Little known fact is I actually picked up Zac for jungling for option 12. I pretty much had played like 2 games on him prior to that, and the more I play him, the more just like the voice lines and the style, and like also the gameplay, like the mechanic, like the rotations and the gameplay style, like it's really growing on me. I actually just thoroughly enjoy playing Zac.
All right.
I have a
Watching Zac for that matter.
I have a second one if you don't mind. It's pretty much tied between this one and Fizz.
Sure.
Honestly, Thresh is up there for me too, just because I hate playing support. I think it's the most underappreciated position, so I stay away from it. But watching a good Thresh player, I don't know. I've had a lot of really good supports. My girlfriend actually plays support almost exclusively, and she's really good at like Morgan and other champs like that. But just seeing a good Thresh player being able to throw those lanterns over barriers, walls, and things like that, get those hooks. He's like a better version of Blitz in my opinion. So.
Yeah, watching a Thresh player do the hook, flay, lantern across the map, it's nasty.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, ballistas back in the day when people used to play Callista. That was a good time.
Little known fact, I actually inspired Mad Life to pick up Thresh.
That wasn't a little known
Early-
fact. We all know that. It's just goes down in legend.
It's like the
Really?
highest rated Reddit League of Legends post, right? Like was
Exactly. But all right. I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us today. And I want to emphasize how great it's going to be to come watch the finals between all these great players on Sunday, April 1st, Easter Sunday at
Damn right.
6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Pushed an hour, as we all know we might be a little bit busy that day. But best of 5. Come, stay a while. It's not going to be a short set. So once again, thank you everybody, and have a good night.